Welcome back to the Poddy Pod.
It's a really nice name.
Yeah, this is episode 2, and we'll be talking about our journeys through building SaaS products. I don't know if you have any updates since we last spoke.
I do not.
I do.
Amazing.
So I guess the first starting point we could go with is last week I put out a video on TikTok. Was it last week or this week? This week I put out a video on TikTok, which surprisingly did well. Well, according to me, is like more than 1,000 views, given that I'm not exactly like a TV personality. And it was essentially the same.
1 billion.
Yeah.
Video.
It was the same thing that we're talking about here, which is how do you build a business that makes a lot of money, basically. And one of the main ways for me was Manifest, as we discussed last time. And that's a fintech. And this week in particular, I was working on the subscriptions and trying to figure out how the SaaS product part of it would work. And I realized that there's actually a lot more to subscriptions than people normally think. So, yeah. So the question is, how would you, and I don't know if this is an interesting topic, but how would you handle upgrades and downgrades if you had subscriptions in your SaaS?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is an interesting question. You obviously have to handle upgrades and downgrades always. So if you have different tiers in your SaaS product and you want to upgrade someone to either a different tier or if they haven't paid, you downgrade them.
Yeah.
Okay, from a logical perspective, you could have the different tiers. Okay, this is very technical.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I think part of what this is about is tech. So we won't go into the code, but the logical thinking behind it, I think, helps. Yeah.
Okay. So how we started off as a SaaS, a very, very SaaS-centered product for what I do for work. Right now, we obviously deal with schools directly, but initially our solution was to go like directly to the people that needed the product, which is teachers, essentially.
Yeah.
So we had different subscription tiers, right? Like you could pay for...
And for anyone who doesn't know what SaaS is, it's software as a service. So basically you pay monthly.
Like Netflix,
like
Spotify.
it's a recurring fee that you pay.
Yeah. Like Netflix, Spotify, those are SaaS products.
Yep.
So what we did for us was we had a period. So your subscription starts at a specific point in a month. And then you say it expires after 30 days, right?
Okay. But you only supported monthly subscriptions.
Yes, monthly subscriptions.
Okay.
So not annual subscriptions. Then after it goes out, right? And you need to like renew it in some way. We basically just gave them notices. And then because we were using M-Pesa, you're given a notice and then with a link of how to pay, right?
So what happens when you click on the link that takes you to pay for the SaaS? Like what happens when they click on that link?
So when they click on the link, it essentially identifies what subscription tier they're on, right? And then initiates a payment, an SDK push payment via M-Pesa.
That's the thing where you have to enter your PIN.
Yes. But it all works with like what subscription tier you have. So behind the scenes, we've just described and said that this person is on this kind of subscription, similar to how you can have different subscriptions for Netflix, right? Like you can have a cheaper subscription, or you can have like the one that has 4K and all the nice stuff.
Yeah, that's the one I have.
That's the one you have. Okay. Flex.
No, it's mostly for the Airbnb, honestly.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So when you want to downgrade someone, you either assign them a different tier, and then they can pay for that tier. Or if they eventually don't pay for the subscription, you basically just remove the assignment to a subscription tier. Then that's cut off. That cuts off their service.
Yeah. I think one thing that makes subscriptions particularly complicated on Manifest is you have different tiers, but you also have different periods. So, for example, you can pay daily, you can pay monthly, you can pay annually, and the prices are different for the different periods. So, for example, if you're paying daily, then you'd pay more than a person who's paying monthly if you actually equate the sum of paying daily every day for a month. And then if you're paying annually, you pay cheaper than a person who's paying, monthly.
Yeah.
Right? So the problem with upgrading and downgrading is...
Wait, can you describe like the tiers?
So the tiers is, let's say we have one where you pay $5 a month, as an example. And let's just call that tier A, for example. Then tier B, you have, you pay $10 a month, which is double, right? But then when you come to the daily payments, you'll find that maybe you pay 25 US cents for the $5 a month one, and you pay 50 cents for the other one, right?
Yeah.
So now, did that...
Is it more expensive for the daily than the monthly?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, but it's configurable. Like I can decide to make it cheaper, more expensive.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
So, but the problem with upgrading and downgrading here is what actually counts as an upgrade. If you have someone who's paying, I'll switch to Kenya shillings to make this easier. If you have someone who's paying 50 shillings a day, and they want to move from that tier to the tier that tells them to pay 1,500 per month, right? So 50 shillings per day, if you multiply by 30 days, is 1,500 per month, right?
Yeah.
But that's actually a lower tier. Okay? So is it an upgrade if they're switching from the 50 shillings a day to the 1,500 a month tier? Or is it a downgrade? Let's start with that.
Is it an upgrade or is it a downgrade?
Yeah. So if you're switching from something that has a higher daily fee than if you... This is about to sound very complicated. So something that has a higher daily fee than if you were to take the monthly fee of the plan that they want to subscribe to and divide it by 30.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So is that an upgrade or a downgrade?
I think they're just different tiers, honestly.
So what would you look at to determine whether a tier is an upgrade or a downgrade?
I would look at if it was different features that were in the tier, like a basic plan versus a pro plan. That's an upgrade.
Okay.
Basically, I get more.
But how do you... The question is, how do you identify that this tier is greater than this other tier? Is it because you can't use the amounts in this?
No, I use
case?
the features. You
use the features.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
like for example, if in Netflix I subscribe to the 1,200 one, I think I get 4K, right? And then there's another one that doesn't have 4K. There's one that has more, like up to 4 streaming devices. Another one that doesn't.
Yeah.
So I'm basically getting more, which means it is an upgrade. So to me, it has nothing to do with the cycles that I choose to pay it in, but it has more to do with like what I'm getting.
Okay.
Because if I'm paying 25 cents a day, and I pay instead, 1,500 per month, right? Messed up the currencies there, but if I do that and I don't get any extra features, it's not an upgrade. It's just like me changing how I'm paying.
So the approach that I went with is we're using the price, but you compare prices within the same period. So if I want to, like, if you're going from 50 shillings a day, Kenya shillings a day, to 1,500 shillings a month, I will check, okay, so what's the daily fee of the monthly one, and then compare it to the current daily fee that you're paying. If it's higher, that means this is a higher tier. because the approach that you've mentioned of using features means that whenever your features change, your logic has to change. And I don't know how I feel about that. So
I mean, you could always have like the base features.
Yeah. So I think a hybrid solution, which is a mixture of what you're doing and what I'm doing, is to basically have a field that says, and this is turning into a very technical. We'll switch from technical details right now in a bit. So it's just add a field that says this is tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And then, maybe the higher the tier or the lower the tier, that means you're upgrading or you're downgrading, regardless. So you're the one to determine whether this is a higher tier or a lower tier.
Okay.
Yeah. That way, it doesn't matter what features you add. So
interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's what I've been working on this week.
Exciting.
Yeah. And the ability so people say that in order for you to make money, now this is transitioning into the business side of it, you need to increase your prices. Like one of the easiest ways to make more money is increase your prices or charge your customers. And I feel like I have nice guy syndrome when it comes to business. And I wanted to know what your what your thoughts are on that. Because when I'll not use money first because it's not yet making money, maybe in a future episode. But like with the Airbnb, for example, I used to offer cleaning twice a week, right? Because I'm like, of course I want my customers to have a clean house. Of course I want to make my customers happy. But then you very quickly realize, these people are, like they're going to leave the house dirty. 1, 2, it's going to cost you more. And then something like drinking water, I used to refill it for them. But you very quickly realize that when they know you're refilling it for them, they use that water to cook. It's like they don't, they don't really place any importance on the thing that you're paying for. So would you say that you have nice guy syndrome when it comes to business? And yeah, actually, do you have nice guy syndrome?
Okay, I don't think I've gotten to a point where I can measure that per se. But what I would say is you have to be, okay, not that I have the experience to say this, but I believe you'd have to be very pragmatic about it and very like practical. And what I would do personally is I would adjust a lot to what things are happening around, just the way that you've adjusted, right?
I had to.
You have so you have to basically get the data, and then after getting the data, adjust and know how to kind of like navigate the situation, right?
Yeah.
Like I was watching this video. There's this channel called I think it's EO, something like that. It's
I know the channel. Yeah.
Like a green logo, EO, and there was a guy that was talking about pricing. And then they said that they started the product at a certain price, and they essentially measured whether people would buy the product, right? So let's say you start at $30 a month. That's the tier that you're doing. You keep on pushing it until you get to the point where you know that these customers aren't willing to pay that much for your solution. And that's kind of like how you even test your product market fit. Right?
Interesting. Yeah.
So you keep on adapting. Adapting and changing stuff. Otherwise, if you stay the same, like if you decided to always do the refilling of the water. True. It would probably be against you.
Because, for example, I recently got a guest who was staying for a couple of months. And I was like, that's very impractical for me to say that I'm gonna be refilling their water. I almost even told them they should be.
Did you have it like in your description or something?
No, it was just nice guy syndrome, honestly. It wasn't it wasn't anywhere on Airbnb or anything. Okay. So so ultimately what I decided to do was, when you come to the house, you'll have 2 20-liter jerry cans of water. Once those jerry cans are empty, it is up to you to refill them. So I won't like tell you, oh, come to my house and be thirsty. No. You'll find the house with water, but you will need to replenish the water yourself, because I can't tell how you're going to use the water obviously, and I can't have that kind of variable cost when it comes to the business. But the initial instinct is nice guy syndrome. So for anyone who has this problem, I think the recommendation is just take a step back and do what you can to delight your customers, but also take a step back and make sure that you're not adding too many variable costs to your business, because that can really, really hurt you, especially when it's something that is outside your control and something that can be influenced by the behavior of your customer. So for example, the refilling water. Different people consume water differently. Different people use electricity differently. Things like that, just try and avoid them as much as you can.
I guess that's the difficult thing with the service-based or hospitality-based kinds of businesses.
Yeah.
Like you have to know how to...
I think it applies to SaaS as well, because
the good thing with SaaS is that and the reason why there are a lot of investors even in software types of companies is because the income is very predictable, right?
The income is predictable.
Can be very predictable.
Yeah. But the thing is, you can have variable costs. So let me just give you an example with Manifest, right? With Manifest, we have wallets, which are basically like mini bank accounts. And you can transfer money from one wallet to another wallet, which is the same thing you can do with a bank. So you can transfer from one account to another account. Now, when we started, the idea was that we won't charge people for that. Oh, that's going to be like our value add. We're not going to charge people for sending money from their own account to another account. But then now, looking back, I'm like, if that is part of the value, okay, maybe banks don't charge for that, right? But in this particular case, if that is part of the value, why not charge a very small fee for moving money from point A to point B? Because one, that disincentivizes people from just moving. Like you have money in your savings and you decide you want to move that money into your entertainment.
Yeah.
At least there's some kind of consequence. That's one. And then two, it also means we make revenue from that activity, right? But the original nice guy syndrome thing to do in software is, oh no, we'll just make it free. It doesn't cost us anything, so might as well make it free. But I think that mentality is a bit, just because it doesn't cost you anything doesn't mean that you're not creating value. And that's like a hard lesson that I've come to learn. And I'm very curious to see how people will receive the whole, it now costs you money to move money from point A to point B. It's cheaper than M-Pesa, but it costs you money.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I think it's again, it's just part of that experimenting part of it, right?
Yeah.
Because even as a business, you still have to innovate, you still have to grow in different ways. And that includes revenue-wise.
Yeah.
And your income. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you also need to make revenue from your free users if possible. That's because originally I was thinking, okay, you'll make revenue from the people who are subscribing and, you can just count the subscribers. But if it's possible for you to squeeze a little revenue out of the people that are using your product for free, because in fintech, that's probably 95% of the people that are using your product are not paying for your product. So that means you're leaving 95% of your customer base as a revenue generating mechanism. So I think there's a saying, I don't know if it's a saying or a quote that I had a while back, which I think might help both of us on our SaaS journeys, which is if you have free customers, they should either make you money in one way or another, or they should advertise your brand. So that could mean if you have a website creator, if they're using the free plan, they have to use your domain, they have to use your watermark, so they're marketing for you. Otherwise, you need to be making money from them somehow if they're not marketing from you. Otherwise, there's no point in having them. So, yeah.
So basically, we're using WhatsApp for free, but in some way, Facebook or Meta is getting a way to extract value.
Of course, they have to extract value somehow.
Do you think they're reading our text messages?
I don't think they're reading our text messages as much as they're reading the patterns. So yeah, I don't think they're reading the specific messages, but they're probably reading the patterns.
Yeah, but I think back to what you said about I still feel like SaaS businesses, even though you can have like this nice guy syndrome in some way, it's still possible to measure more accurately, like how or predict the revenue of your app, as opposed to like a hospitality based.
The revenue, yes.
The revenue, yes.
The revenue, yes. The thing that I was talking about is the expenses. So generally your expenses could be predictable. But another problem you might have with nice guy syndrome is, oh, okay, why don't I just offer these features? Like, why don't I just offer them as much as I can for free as possible? Which is, I am very guilty of this with Manifest. As opposed to, you say, okay, no. I'm going to offer you just enough for you to want to pay. That's a very different mindset. As opposed to, you can build a product and you're giving... I was with a friend of mine earlier today, and she was telling me how she uses this AI software for teachers. And I was thinking, okay, so do you pay for it? Or like, is it free? No, she's like, no. I just use the free version. I've never paid for it, but I use it every week and it saves me time. And I'm like, okay, so this person is deriving a lot of value from this product and they're not paying for it, which means there's a problem somewhere in the capturing of the value that you're creating. And
I genuinely think that even with the free kind of, I feel like it's kind of freemium.
It is freemium, yeah.
Even for us, when we were building the product the first time, there was a free version, right?
Yeah.
It was limiting, and like we did the math, and it wasn't too bad in our expenses side of things. But even from the free users, they enabled us to like build the right features, right? Because they gave us information about like what works and what doesn't work, right? So in some way, we're still capturing value in that sense.
Yeah.
But that being said, if I was to start like a SaaS business or a SaaS product, I would still want my first product to be a paid thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I'd do a freemium.
Fair.
Yeah.
I feel like freemium helps a lot when you have the try before you buy thing. But personally, I don't think, like in the software space, I don't think I've ever tried selling a subscription where you have to pay to access the thing and there's no free version of the thing successfully yet.
Okay.
But I'm sure it's possible. So speaking of which, now transitioning into potential ideas for SaaS businesses. So there's the main thing I'm personally working on, which is Manifest. And I don't know if you had the time to think of new ideas, but I can drop an idea on you if you wanna.
No, there's an idea that I had. It was in my mind, but I'm forgetting.
Okay.
I'm forgetting about it.
Okay.
There's an idea that I came across just very recently. I was like, this was good. This would have been a really great SaaS idea. Let me see if I can remember it.
Okay.
Though I did initially have an idea of an influencer kind of the idea that I had, I've remembered it.
Nice. I see your eyes light up.
I remembered it. So
yeah.
And this is probably a semi-stolen idea in some sense.
It's okay.
Okay,
Good artists
let me call it an inspired idea.
Great artist still.
Yeah. So we have a lot of cases where we have like private WhatsApp groups or private groups where people can, interact, talk. Twitter, not Twitter, Telegram, like private groups and stuff like that. Is there a way to like monetize that? Right?
Monetize what?
Is there a way,
groups?
To monetize like the private part of the group? In a sense, like if I opened a WhatsApp group and this was only limited to like a certain group of people, right? Like, is there a way for me as the creator of that WhatsApp group to monetize it in an easy way, where I could like send someone a link and then they could pay for an invitation to the group, and then automatically they just get invited to that group. Right? It's a semi-inspired idea.
So there's School.
Yeah.
You know School?
No.
SKOOL. Why am I marketing them? .com. So School, what you're describing is paid communities.
Exactly.
Yeah. So School allows you to build paid communities. They have their own platform where you can create your own community. People can pay to get access to exactly what you're mentioning. The thing I haven't seen is School, but tied to private WhatsApp groups instead of instead of like building your own fully fledged system.
Yeah.
So that I have not seen, but
that was an interesting idea.
Yeah.
I obviously had the other one about
how much would you charge for that a month?
I haven't thought about the financials of it.
Oh, wow.
I guess it depends on.
Bro.
No, I guess it depends on like if I am the one that's opening the WhatsApp group, then what's the value of an invitation? I would probably take a percentage of that, maybe. Like if an invitation to your group is $5, right?
So I have a group.
Yeah,
I'm charging $5 per person that gets in.
Yeah.
So of each of those $5 that I receive, you will take a percentage.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. That's not a bad model.
Yeah, I'll call it a service charge.
Yeah. You know, it's funny that you mentioned service charge because Uber, I have a bit of a problem with Uber and Airbnb because like a while back, they used to say that the service charge is what you pay for the service, basically. So for the convenience of using the service. But nowadays, if you look at something like Uber Eats, for example, you will have the delivery fee. And then
on top of that,
and then you'll have the service charge.
Yeah.
On Airbnb, I think you, if I'm not wrong, you pay like the Airbnb charge. No, you pay the service charge. Then on top of that, you pay the hosting fee. Like they found a way to make it so that you make two payments as opposed to one payment, which is a service charge, which is what it used to be.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I feel about that. But yay, capitalism.
Maybe the same thing with the transactions that you're trying to do from back to back.
Yeah, I think it's just capturing more value because at some point you reach a point where, okay, acquiring new customers is more and more expensive. So I need to extract more value out of the existing customers that I have. So I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's all about the numbers.
Yeah. So
that was the idea that I had. The
that's
one that
came idea.
Very, very recently.
That's a decent idea.
I have a Notion where I track these ideas.
Wait,
but
Notion is a productivity software for anyone who's not aware of it. Yeah,
you should be aware of Notion.
He says in a threatening voice.
No, it's a really good product.
It's a beautiful product.
Yeah.
Notion,
and then there's we use Coda at work.
Oh, and it's also a SaaS.
You've heard of Coda?
Like I'm a coder?
No, CODA.
No.
It's almost similar to Notion. Coda, I think, was built by Google engineers, if I'm not wrong.
Google engineers or ex-Google engineers?
Ex-Google.
Okay.
Ex-Google engineers.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think it came out the same time with Notion. Kind of like the same time.
Oh, okay.
But it hasn't like grown in popularity. Both of them are free, so definitely. Free to try.
I mean,
yes.
Yeah. So if you need to collaborate with other people on Notion, you'll probably need to pay for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Do you have any idea how much? You were saying you have a Notion for ideas. You were about to say your second idea.
I'm forgetting it. There's one. Yeah.
Great memory.
Wow. But
love it.
One, I can mention one of them.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I'm very transparent about the ideas. So if anyone wants to steal the idea, go and try and do it on their own.
Execution is key, man.
Execution is key, but if you want to do it, then all good as well. I had an idea about a PDF generation service or a PDF generation API service.
PDF generation API service.
Yeah.
Okay. There's multiple things we need to dissect in that sentence.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a service.
Do you know the full meaning of a PDF?
I've forgotten. I actually knew this.
Does it start with portable?
I've forgotten. I'm drawing a blank. Tell me.
I don't know if it's portable document format. I'm not sure.
That sounds reasonable.
It sounds reasonable, but probably butchered it.
Yeah. So I think when you say PDF
generation API service.
Yeah. So this is for developers.
Yes.
So if a developer wants to generate a PDF, they can use this service.
Yeah, exactly.
And they can pay for this service, so they don't have to think about building their own PDF generator.
Yeah, like for example, there are services that do like invoice generators and stuff like that. But for example, the problem that I was going through, especially with the app that we were building, is that we needed to generate bulk reports, right? For like Lana reports. And I couldn't find like a service out there that
really
does
like, there's no NPM
a
package.
Reasonable service that there's definitely an NPM package, but
do we need to define what NPM is?
Maybe we do.
Yeah, okay.
For the non-techies.
Yeah. So it's like a library that contains different tools and resources that you can use in your project. So if you wanted to, for example, I don't know, generate a PDF, you can go to this library or store and find a tool that allows you to do that. So you don't have to build the functionality for generating a PDF yourself.
Yeah. So if that didn't make any sense,
there's no way that didn't make any sense. But
for someone that isn't interested in the whole tech side of it, let me just describe the problem. Okay. So we needed to generate reports for multiple learners, and we needed to do that really, really fast. Okay. So the current way that we're doing it with the NPM packages that we had, the external tools that we had, was that it would capture, like it would do a screenshot of whatever you have, and that takes a while. It takes a long while. Yeah.
How long is
especially if your report has like 5 pages or something like that? Then it would take.
So if you have a page, would it like scroll and take, like, it would take a full page screenshot, including?
No, it would take a screenshot of each of the pages in an A4 format.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long does that take?
So like for one, I remember for one learner it was taking like 5 seconds, something
per
like
page?
That. No, the entire, like up to like 4 pages or something like that.
Okay.
But the problem is you couldn't do it in parallel.
Okay.
Right? So you had to do it one by one, which means if you have 10 learners, that's going to take 50 seconds.
Wait.
Yeah.
What do you mean you couldn't do it in parallel? Like
you, with that NPM package, you can't take screenshots in parallel.
Oh, okay. Because you're taking screenshots to generate the PDF.
Yeah.
Then you can only take one screenshot at a time.
Even so for the pages, you have to do it like one screenshot at a time for each of the pages in each of the learners report, right?
So I have a question.
Yeah.
And this is about to get technical again. So,
yeah.
If you were to create a service that allowed you to generate a PDF, how would you describe the formatting?
What do you mean by the formatting?
Okay, so I'm assuming you can pass in the information that you want to be in the PDF.
Yeah.
But how that information looks on... Is your product called Verb? Or what's
the CBC app.
The CBC app, right?
Yeah.
So how would you make sure that the report that is coming out comes out looking the way it looks on the CBC app? Would you allow people to specify styles, or what's the plan?
That was the entire premise behind it, was that you could design whatever you want in a tool like Canva like tool, right? where you could
I have
do
follow-up questions, but
yeah, you could do everything, and then you could define like this is the data that's coming into this page per se, and then we would generate it in that way.
So if you're doing a report and your report is on your web app, right? And this is what you use to take a screenshot of.
Yeah.
And I want to generate a PDF from that.
Yeah.
Are you saying that I have to go to Canva, do the same design that I did there, then go get the data from there and combine that with the Canva design that I've done?
Yes. So ideally, the idea would be I just design the report once, right? So instead of designing it within my web application, right, I do it within this product that I would have created, right? Then all I need to do is just pass in the data that's coming from my web app to that application, and then that would generate it on that side, and it would just give you back the screenshots.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have an alternative suggestion on how you could approach this problem, which is why not allow people to just paste in their HTML?
Security.
No, they paste in their HTML. It's not that you make the PDF the HTML, and HTML is it a programming language? Let's say it's a programming language.
Yeah.
It's a thing that you use to define the structure of a web page.
It's a markup language.
It's a markup language. That's only tech bros care about the semantic differences. So
the tech bros in the comments would probably roast us.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I didn't go to school anyway. So,
okay.
you know.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking would make more sense, and I'm saying this now as a developer using said product. To me, it would make zero sense for me to have to go to another product to design what I want my thing to look like.
No, actually, I forgot. There would have been a panel where you could switch to pasting code.
Okay.
So ideally, you could go there and say that my PDF is this size. Then I could paste in the HTML within like that panel side of things. And then I could replace the places where dynamic data is coming in, such as the details for the learner, something like that.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So you can style it either with I can't talk. With HTML or
HTML, CSS. I wanted to make it possible to even paste in React code as opposed to just HTML.
I think the less things you do, the better.
Yeah.
So in fact, it might even be better just to say you can turn any React component into PDF. Like that's the entire service. Or you can turn HTML into PDF. Or, like just one vertical, and then just copy paste that and say, okay, React to PDF, HTML to PDF, I don't know, Canva to PDF, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So as separate products, as opposed to trying to do it as one product.
Yeah, I know. But, the whole idea was just to like, what's the easiest way that someone can do PDF generations in the application? That's just the whole premise.
The easiest way for me would be if I could just say, here's my component, PDF out. That's it.
But you have to realize that, like for our case, we had dynamic data. So you also have to like handle the part where
the component has the data already embedded into it, because even if the data is dynamic, it has to be loaded in the component so that it can be seen in the user interface, right?
Yes, that's true.
So that means that after evaluation or after this is getting very technical, I'm sorry. After evaluating your components, your data is already there. So whatever data is already there, you don't need to think about, I need to pass in this data. It's just, I need this component to turn from being a page into being PDF.
Yeah, I think that does make sense. But now I have to I have to transfer that code from the client side to the server, which is like what I did not want to deal with. Like I did not want to deal with sending code through the client to the server.
Yeah.
Because the server side is what helps with the speed. Yeah. Anyway, like let's not get really into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
that was my second idea.
That's an interesting idea. I think that is something I would potentially use. I don't know how much I would pay or if I would pay at all.
Yeah.
But it's something
the competition is paying is charging somewhere like $50
per
number of generations. So
how many?
I think you would have 100 if I'm not wrong.
Really? Yeah. That's not a lot.
It's
that's
not
like
a lot,
50.
Actually.
That's like $50.
Yeah.
Per PDF.
Yeah. And like looking at all of the SaaS products that are similar to that was like the price range. Yeah, but none of them had this value proposition of being able to put in your code and then generate the PDFs like that, or even the bulk generation side of things.
Interesting idea, man.
Yep.
Interesting idea.
Yep. But it was very complex, so
we can hold you accountable. When are you building your first idea? That's
it really depends. It depends, honestly.
Starts every procrastination story. So,
yeah, I think it really depends. Because juggling between having a full-time job and trying to pursue a side project.
Do you have kids?
Especially, no, I do not have kids. Okay. Especially if you want to do it solo, is not the easiest thing, by the way. You think that it's going to be easy, but those days they don't actually look particularly friendly. Because let's say I was building something, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have my day job, which is 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Right? Then it means that I have to start work another job after 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay. So right now there's an idea I thought about executing a while back, and I just had it today on another podcast I like listening to called My First Million. And it's
a good podcast.
Yeah. And there was Photopea for Photoshop. So Photoshop in your browser. But then we needed to have like a video version of that. So like After Effects, but in your browser. And no one had done it. And I was thinking, maybe I'm going to do it. But then every time I sat down and thought about it, I was just like, that's too much work. But
After Effects or Premiere?
No, After Effects.
Okay.
So I'll check my bookmarks, but someone just created it and it's been released for free. and they're a bartender, apparently. And they spent the past, God knows how long, building it. Like maybe 1.5 years, which doesn't seem that long, honestly, for something that complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's incredible. It's called... You can keep talking as I try and find it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it also depends on the idea. Because if I get an idea that I'm like super interested in doing, then it won't matter that I'm like having 60 nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I am unable to find it, but it's something called Something Move. I think like Pixie Move, something. Yeah.
I think people are building like some insane stuff out there.
Oh yeah.
Like based on just like your interests and what you like doing. Sometimes if you spend some extra hours doing something, it even gives you more energy than it does drain you.
True.
Yeah.
True. And one last idea. So another SaaS idea that I've thought about, this is probably a very false statement I'm about to say, which I can probably build in a weekend.
Okay.
Is a Chrome extension for helping people who are preparing for technical interviews practice lead code. So that's it. It can break down the problem. Like if you're on a problem page, it can break down the problem to you and tell you, this is what this problem is about. These are the kinds of techniques that you need to use. Then you can highlight any part of your code and it can tell you, oh, okay, you should try this instead, or this. Oh, yeah, looks like you're going on the right path. So as a programmer, is that something that you would pay for?
100%.
Okay. How much would you pay?
I don't
Per
know how
month.
much I would pay, but it would have to be less than the lead code subscription, obviously.
Okay.
But I would say that I've done lead code quite a bit, and these problems, like, there's a point that you get to where it's like, I'm just stuck on this one thing.
And you
right?
might literally have, this is a very technical episode.
Yeah.
But you might literally have code that is correct. But the only reason why it's failing is maybe you forgot to put the condition was less than or equal to.
Yeah.
You forgot to put the equal.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why it's failing. And you're pulling your hair out because you think that maybe your solution is wrong.
Yeah.
But turns out it's just that one tiny little bit. So,
by the way, which is an actual thing. Like,
it is an actual thing. It's happened to both of us because we were practicing. So
yeah. I would definitely invest in that, because it would definitely make me faster when I'm solving problems, and not bang my head on something that doesn't really matter.
Would it make you better? Is the question.
It would. I think so.
Yeah.
As long as it's not solving the problem for me.
Yeah.
Then yeah.
So lead code is $35 a month if you pay monthly. And it is $13.25 per month if you pay yearly.
Yeah.
I can cut you a deal and we can do $30 a month and $10 a month if you pay yearly. Is that something you'd be willing to consider?
Wait, for what? For the extension?
Yeah.
Wait, $30 including the lead code subscription? Or
No. It has nothing to do with the lead code subscription.
No, I wouldn't pay that much.
Why wouldn't you pay that much?
Because it's literally close to the lead code subscription.
But the thing is, it helps you more than the lead code subscription, because the lead code subscription gives you, I'd paid for it. So
yeah,
it gives you something called an editorial, which is a summary of, this is how you could solve this problem, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't give you contextual understanding on, one, the problem, and two, your specific code. Even if you pay for lead code.
Yeah, definitely. I get it. But for me, the bottom line is, how much am I spending on this interview prep?
Okay.
Or something of that sort.
And if this tool somehow made you twice as fast, for example,
I still wouldn't pay that much.
Really?
Honestly.
How much would you pay?
Personally, I would pay, I think I would pay something that makes sense, as if it was a feature of lead code. So what I mean by that is, would I pay $40 for interview prep? Would I pay $50 for interview prep per month? I wouldn't pay $60, honestly.
Okay. So you're saying if you added the cost of this thing, but the thing is, other than the questions that are locked on the platform, this would basically give you the same benefits as having the premium version of lead code.
Yeah. Well,
I'm trying to understand your objection, because I'm sure there's other developers that would have the same challenge, and they would.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand your objection here. Let's work together.
Personally, I wouldn't get to $30.
Okay, how much would you pay?
I would get to.
And that's only if you're paying monthly. I said if you're paying yearly, it's $10.
Yeah.
So
I would pay $10.
Monthly?
Yes.
Monthly. But you
I would pay $10 because, again, thinking about it.
Would you pay the annual subscription that is $10 a month, or you're saying that the monthly subscription should be $10?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm saying this is because, again, if it's going back to the usage, right? I would want to use it whenever I get stuck with a problem, right? And need some guidance towards solving the problem, right? So number one, if I do pay for lead code subscription, I still have the
Editorial.
solution to the problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that takes care of the part of really just getting the solution.
Mm-hmm.
The value proposition for me is it can custom go with me. It's like a personal tutor
Mm-hmm.
of like what.
And you're telling me a personal tutor is worth $10 a month to you? That's what you're saying.
No.
So-
No, not really. But like what I'm saying is,
Uh-huh.
like the amount of times that I use the just lead code and the editorial and whatever it is,
Mhm.
is going to be more than the amount of time that I spend on the extension helping me out when I get stuck.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So for me, the value proposition can't be equal or close to lead code subscription price,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the way that I view it personally is that it is an addition
Mm-hmm.
to the lead code subscription, right?
Mm-hmm.
I view it as an addition. I don't view it as something that I'm going to use as the primary
Okay,
product.
let's assume you're not paying for lead
Yeah.
code.
Yeah.
And you're paying for... I hope the microphone does not...
Hopefully it's a direct bottom line.
Yeah, I hope the microphone does not capture the background noises that we have here. But...
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, sorry. So if it was, let's keep it at $10 per month per year,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you're paying yearly,
Mm-hmm.
But if the-
$30 per...
no. Let's adjust the monthly one,
Okay,
because it
okay.
seems like that's where you have a problem. Because it doesn't seem like the annual is the problem.
Yeah.
So if that was $19, would you pay?
Mm,
You don't
No.
think so? It's not worth guaranteeing that you will. Not guaranteeing really,
you see,
but
the problem that I have is I view it as an addition.
why?
Because I view it as like I have to use lead code in order for me to be able to use
The tool.
extension of the tool.
Okay.
So in my mind, like it is not a primary product as much as it is an add-on.
It's a copilot. It's like GitHub Copilot,
Yeah.
but lead Copilot.
Yeah.
How much
So
is
even
GitHub?
GitHub, I view it as an addition.
Yeah.
GitHub Copilot.
They charge
an
$10
add-on.
a month, but I think they're losing
Yeah.
money.
They're definitely losing money.
Yeah. So the reason why I ask about this pricing is because I'm trying to picture a situation where if I were to build such a SaaS, is it financially viable to run the business and offer the service at that cost? That is the question.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Like that's the problem. It's not an issue of, oh, you want to charge us as much as you can. No, it's also, this is the thing that costs you a lot.
Yeah.
So maybe have like a GPT 3.5, which is like a faster model, but isn't as smart, and have that be $10 a month.
Yeah.
And then have a GPT 4.0,
Yeah.
which is the smarter model, be $30 a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I guess is
A reasonable way to go about it.
reasonable. Yeah.
Okay. So can I get you to pre-commit?
But personally, I would like,
Yeah.
first of all, I would want to see how it actually works, like how
Okay.
it integrates to the flow of me like doing lead code questions and
Mhm.
and me getting stuck and then using the tool to help me move past a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or sometimes you read lead code hard questions and this is a cracked problem.
Yeah.
And even the editorial doesn't make sense,
Or it doesn't have best case scenario. It doesn't
Yeah.
have any editorial.
or it doesn't have any editorial. Yeah.
And it's a hard problem.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
for some reason, there's some problems that you read the editorial and you're even more confused.
There's a problem like that I
Yeah.
encountered. But I think we have
Yeah.
run out of time for this episode. So
Interesting. How long?
yeah, So we're at around 59 minutes almost.
59 minutes. We should go 10 more minutes.
Are you sure?
10 more minutes.
Okay. You say so. Yeah. So that's the other idea I was thinking about, which is how, it's pretty obvious what the distribution strategy for this is. You basically post on Hacker News, you post on Reddit, you post on any like job related forums, Twitter, dev.to. Like you post on every place where developers would be and they are potentially looking for jobs, and you get leads that way. But I'm having a challenge with the pricing.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, this is not one of those SaaS products where your cost is negligible, so you can charge a very low amount.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where your cost is actually going to be potentially a substantial percentage of whatever you're making. So
what if you do like user-based tiers, right?
What do you mean by
if
user-based?
You have like usage-based what's it called? Usage-based
pricing.
Yeah, exactly. So if I use it a certain amount, then like my credits or my quota goes, and then if I get to a certain point, I need more, then I can do that.
So instead of a subscription, you do credits.
Yeah.
Or
the same way that you did it for Ace Interview.
Yeah.
The Ace Interview product.
Yeah.
I would think about it in the same way, because now the AI part of it is out of your control, right?
Really is, unfortunately.
It's out of your control. So
yeah.
For me, I would want to say, okay, if I get stuck on 5 problems and I need assistance on 5 problems, I'm fine if I just buy 5 like sessions or something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
So let's say a session is $1.
Yeah. Because again, the other thing is,
there's a person who's gonna like do 1,000 questions or like 300 questions.
But you know that they're like this, especially with LeetCode, I think people do it in a very methodical way. So they would say, I'm going to do 4 questions a day, something like that. So it might be quantifiable to do it in like sessions as well.
I just realized that we never explained what LeetCode is.
Yeah.
So LeetCode is this website that allows
from hell.
Yeah. LeetCode is this website that allows you to practice programming problems. So more specifically, this thing called data structures and algorithms. Data structures is just how you store information in a computer, and algorithms is the processes that you go through. So for example, if I wanted to make a sandwich, step 1 might be, okay, take out the bread from the packaging and then apply margarine, then make the filling, then, every single step. That's what the algorithm is. Data structures is how you decide to package it. So in the case of a sandwich, I guess you could say maybe we are selling sandwiches and you want to send them out to customers. One person might decide to use lunch boxes. Another person might decide to use an envelope. Another person might decide to use a carton. So depending on how you store it, that affects how you transport it as well. So yeah.
You've forgotten the most important part, which is
speed.
If you're interviewing for a big tech company like Google, Microsoft, Netflix, all of them.
If you're interviewing for any big tech company, you basically need to have your data structures and algorithms nailed down. And that's why people go to platforms like LeetCode, because it allows them to practice for such problems and prepare for such interviews. Yeah.
Prepping for a big tech interview is like prepping for the Olympics or something.
Yeah, it's probably harder. It's probably harder than like prepping for a normal exam, because it's just hard. So
there was a comparison where people are comparing. Okay, someone is comparing like the number of people that get into Harvard and the number of people that get into a company like Google.
I'm guessing
the acceptance rate at Google is
like lower.
Way lower.
I can believe that. I can believe that.
Interesting.
But the interesting thing is that you get in through this data structures and algorithms, which could basically be a function of you memorizing things, or rather being able to regurgitate patterns that you have observed over time. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you would be great at writing code where you're not being told solve this specific type of problem that needs this specific type of solution. So yes, it does make you a better programmer, but
I think if you get companies that would ask you very custom tailored questions, then it makes sense. Because if you, no matter like how many solutions you master, right? If you're presented with a similar question in a different way, then you're obviously going to fumble it if you mastered the solution.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I think it's useful because it helps you like think about problems.
True.
But you'll never be asked to reverse a binary tree in a job, an actual job.
Probably. Yeah.
Probably. Mostly.
Or balance out a binary tree. Like binary search tree. Like
most likely.
Yeah, that was an easy question that I couldn't solve. And which is ironic because I've been able to solve some hard questions.
Yeah.
So
that's the humbling part.
Yeah, if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. So yeah. So I think that's essentially what I have for now. I think the next time we talk, I am praying that you will have done something about the idea that you have. I have a meeting coming up this week for a potential partnership for Manifest.
Amazing stuff.
I'll share an update as soon as I'm allowed to share an update. But exciting things, and it's with a relatively known and large-ish, let me not say ish, large company.
Large.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah, it's the company that has billions in assets under management.
Yeah, the one that has like an orangish reddish logo.
No, they don't have an orangish reddish logo.
Okay,
I'll tell you off camera. So
right.
Yeah, unless you have anything else.
No, I don't have anything else.
Awesome. Hopefully, we'll be sharing revenue updates as the products we build come to fruition. And if you're building any SaaS product or any business for that matter, feel free to share what your numbers are, what kind of business you're working on. And yeah, that's a wrap.
Yep. See you guys next week.